Hello and welcome to the Divorced Dadvocate, where we help dads navigate through life during and after divorce and create an amazing life for themselves and their children. My name is Jude Sandoval and I am your host. And today we're going to do another practical advice. I'm getting tons and tons of questions about practical advice, and this one is unbelievably important. My guest today is the founder of Got It Together Now. She's spent the last 30 plus years in the financial services industry as a certified financial planner. And during that time, she witnessed how unprepared her clients were when a health issue or death occurred. Well, that would be me. This prompted her to develop an online course called Got It Together. And it guides individuals to get their important documents and personal information up to date, organized, and in one place. And no one knows when an illness, an accident, or death will occur, and there's never a better time than now to get this taken care of. And her graduates can confidently say, I've got it together. Please welcome Stacey Golden-Lisnock. Hey, Stacey, thanks for being here today.
Hey, Jude, thanks for having me. That's a mouthful, isn't it?
Man, it is. It's a lot. And, you know, what you do is a lot. And I got to say, I'm just going to admit right off the bat, I did not have it together during my divorce or like after my divorce. And it really, really made things incredibly challenging for me in the process because there's such a, there's so much to do, so much documentation to get. And then really after I put it off, like getting all the stuff changed and all that, et cetera. So, but before we start talking about how you can help everybody do that, tell us a little bit about, you said you've been in a CFP and you were in the financial services 30 plus years. How did you get into this business?
So I had a health crisis myself and never been sick in my life. And all of a sudden I find myself like unable to work. And that was in 2018. And it was due to the shingles virus. So a lot of people have had shingles and they're like, what's she talking about? It's not that bad. You just get through it. Well, mine was bad and it knocked me down for almost a year. So in 2018, well, like kind of laying around with no energy and no ability to do much, but, eat and sleep. And I kept thinking, I don't have my stuff together. Like if nobody knows how to pay the bills, I haven't set that up right. And if I don't make it through this, a lot of things are going to fall through the cracks. People aren't going to know my husband aren't going to know where things are or how I handle things. So I started, when I felt better, I started buying workbooks, and guess what? I still didn't do the work.
Yeah. Okay. You think you're describing me?
Yeah. So, you feel good when you buy the book because that's like, oh, good, I did it. But then when it arrives and you're like, oh no, you look through it and you're like, this is way more than I can handle. I'll look at it later. And then later never comes. But then I bought another workbook thinking that would be a little more motivating. No, they just started piling up. So then I decided, I would rather have a structure, and I don't know of any programs out there. Okay. So I created my own. And so now I have this online course. It's called the Emergency Info File, and it's 7 modules, and it gets you through the process in like small lessons. And so you can see the progress, and it's not this huge program or not program, but like when you renovate a house, yeah. You look back on how much you had to do and the order that you had to do it. And you're like, oh gosh, I'm glad that's done. It's kind of like that. You get through it in small pieces and you look back after the end and say, went through all of that, but I did it in a way that was actually doable.
Right. This is a side note. Did you know the average number of pages in a book that somebody buys is 18 that are read are 18? People usually read 18 pages and then put it away. Never read the rest.
Surprised. So I never heard that, but I'm not surprised.
I heard that this week. So it kind of like it plays into exactly what you just said, which is, I buy the book or I plan on doing that or I want to, and then I don't. So having this is absolutely brilliant, like you said. And I think you described it. And I also want to let everybody know, hang on to the end because Stacey's got something coming up this next week that she wants to tell you about. I think you'll be excited, and it'll absolutely be worthwhile for you to listen to and wait to the end, because it's going to give you an opportunity to do exactly what we're describing in some practical advice today. So what you're describing is that it's over a period of time, so that it just kind of chunks it down, so you're not completely overwhelmed. Because I know I was overwhelmed, and so I had a business in addition to all the personal documents and 3 children and life insurance, all of this stuff all together. So was that what I heard you say? It just kind of takes you slowly through that, gives you, and then there were like years later, I'm thinking, oh wait, I didn't even do that. I forgot to do that, or something popped up, right?
Exactly. And I just want to give you a story, like a storytelling on myself,
Okay.
because doing this work, you uncover things that even you forgot about. So
Mm-hmm.
like, how would anybody else ever even know it exists if you didn't even remember? So I was going through and cleaning up all of my passwords on my password manager,
Mm-hmm.
because that's one of the things that we, say you should really have a password manager so somebody can get into all of your digital accounts and take care of business that way. That's like the best way to
Yep.
handle things quickly. But so I had a whole bunch that were old links to sites that don't even exist anymore because I never cleaned it up. So I'm going through and I click on the one from Coinbase. So a long time ago, when Bitcoin was $1,600 a coin, I had gotten talked into buying like a half of a coin. So I had a half of one, but then I got pretty much ripped off and didn't own anything. I got ripped off, but
Uh-huh.
so I thought I really didn't have anything left in cryptocurrency. Well, it's over $50,000 now for one coin. It's just had a huge
Wow.
uptick. So when I'm cleaning out my manager there, my password manager, I click on the link for the Coinbase and it loads me in and it logs me in, and I have $1,800 that I discovered. I felt like I won the lottery. So just to say, you don't even know what you have. So how is somebody else supposed to guess at what you might have that, if you don't tell them in advance? So it is section by section and topic by topic, so that you can get through and review the documents and make sure that people are in the know. At least one person, you pick one person that you can trust.
Okay.
So you don't want to keep your life insurance and have the wrong beneficiary on it. You don't want to have, the wrong beneficiary is a big thing
Mm-hmm.
in divorces. I personally know a lady who her husband passed. He was living life large, ended up getting killed in a car accident, and his ex-wife got the life insurance. And so my friend subsequently, they were living large, so they, probably are living above their means. So she ultimately lost her health over it because, the stress and the worry and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so her life was never the same. And when you lose your health, you don't have a whole lot going. That becomes your life, right?
Right. So
So
then is this something that, so it's a course that someone would log into. Now, do you suggest working it with somebody, or do you like, if you're have family members that can work with you so that they can actually see what's going on?
yeah, that
And
would be the ultimate, that would be the best case scenario if you could do it with an accountability partner or the person that you've chosen, like your reciprocal buddies, for like, if something happens to me, you need to know, or something happens to you, I need to know. So you basically would do it in concert with each other because they're separate. It's like, even if you're married, it's not the same information,
right,
right? So
right.
you don't, like, your wishes as far as final wishes would be potentially different. But the thing is, it's guidance. The thing is, there's 3 things: structure, guidance, and accountability, that
Okay.
make this doable. Because the structure comes with the fact that there's modules and then there's lessons. It's all structured. And then the
Okay.
guidance is that we're each one in the lesson. So it's a video that you play on demand. It explains what you're doing. And then you go and you get the log sheets and the things that you fill in or read articles on the topic. And then the accountability is that we try to match people up with accountability partners if they don't have their own network, So we have a couple different packages. One of them has like weekly meetings and an all day intensive once a month where you can come and actually get the work done, because just
Oh.
taking the course is kind of like just buying the workbook.
Right.
Like, okay, I spent the money that thinks you think psychologically that's going to motivate you to get it done,
Yeah.
but you spent the money. How many courses have you bought where
Mm-hmm.
you spent the money and it was a lot, and then you thought that's going to motivate me, and you don't do it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's brilliant. So it creates a structure. Then I like the guidance part too. You said there's videos like, and so for instance, for me, it was after like I said, after the fact, I wanted to set up a trust. I had no idea about that. And I don't know if that's one of the
it is.
parts. Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to go and research that and find it and find an attorney and spend money on all of that.
Yeah.
And that's just one small thing. That's brilliant that they could just log in. They got the structure, and then
Yeah.
and then it took me months, right? Because I had to
That's
get
right.
all my stuff together, get
You
it
get
to
stalled
written
out.
up, right? Right.
Yeah, so with the first module, it is estate planning, like you're talking about, and it's so important
Mm,
about the guardianship issues with children and pets as well. I mean, if you get hauled off, because you're in an accident, or you have an illness that knocks you, people have things happen every day. Just because you're a certain age or whatever doesn't mean you can't have a stroke, or I've heard of young people with aneurysm. I mean, you could go on and on and on what could happen to you.
yeah.
The fact of the matter is, it probably won't, but what if it does? Like, do you want your kids to then have to suffer dually, right? They would then suffer from losing you, or losing the ability for you to take care of them.
Yeah.
And then they would be thrown into this whirlwind of like foster care or juggling around or whatever, other people deciding what's going to happen to them.
Right.
It's pretty tragic. Change their
Right.
life forever, for sure.
Right. And one of the reasons I was so excited to talk to you about this today is because when we're going through divorce, it's a perfect opportunity to get all of your poop in a pile, right? You can go forward with that. And it's a pain in the butt. And it's about the last thing you want to think about and
Yeah.
do, but you're
Yeah.
doing it, you're forced to do it anyway. You've got these disclosures and everything you need to go through, and you're pulling documents, and there's the discovery, and you're sharing all these documents. So
Yeah.
why not at the same time have this structure of having this all set up because of the reasons that you just stated, which is, all right, so then you've taken this headache away from your whomever may be responsible after your children, or what's going to happen, because well, last thing you'd want is something to go through this, and then something happens to you, and then it's just a big giant mess for everybody else. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
absolutely awesome.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie? I think it's called Manchester by the Sea.
I don't think
It's
so.
with Ben Affleck's brother, I think.
Oh,
Um,
Casey Affleck.
yeah, yeah. And it was a case where the father had a heart condition that he could die at any minute. Like, he could just die at any minute. And everybody, but he had the sole custody of his son. And then
Mm.
his brother was you know, uh, I don't know, what do you call the guy that never got married and has a free spirit?
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
That's his brother.
Right.
Well, the guy with the son one day just dies, right? Because it was
Mhm.
expected. Actually, he had this congenital heart issue that was expected that it would take him at any point. And then the brother, who's the free spirit, finds out that the son is now his responsibility, per the brother
Oh.
electing that. You don't want to do that to somebody. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want to make somebody the beneficiary of your children, without them agreeing to it, because it's a total life change. And if they're not up for it, then that could screw your kids up even more, because what you don't want your kids somewhere where they're not wanted. And this guy, it was a good story because it turned his life around, and he became this thing that he
Right.
wasn't before. But just to say, you want to always have that conversation before you just assume somebody will take your kids.
Right. So that's another great point that I didn't even think about. Can you take us through briefly each of the modules so we can kind of get an idea of what, some of the stuff that's going to come up and prompt us? Because like, as you keep saying this stuff, I'm thinking, oh yeah, well, maybe there's still some stuff I really need to start thinking about and paying attention. So this is as much for my benefit as it is for everybody
Yeah,
listening's benefit also.
probably. Um, you know what? I hate to say, I'm looking.
I'm sorry, I put you on the spot with
Yeah,
this question. We don't
if
rehearse questions here, so
yeah.
just so everybody knows, it's not.
Well, if I would have known, I would have had this one particular document up. You think I have a brain like a
No,
steel,
no. I mean,
what
that's
do they
all
say?
a steel trap, right?
Yeah, no, it's like the sieve. Trust
It's like
me.
a sieve. Okay, well, you're doing this every day, and I can't even imagine
Yeah,
all
no,
the information
yeah, no,
that you're
I
working
have it
with
here.
too.
I have it here, so I am prepared. So I'm going to go through the modules, and
Okay.
so there's 7 of them.
Okay.
So this is it. The first one is what you talked about, estate planning, and that is
Okay.
first and foremost because it really is the most important in my mind, but it's not the end all and the be all. So sometimes people say, "Well, I have that done. I have my will. I have my trust. I'm good. My attorney's got me handled." Well, you know what? Your attorney doesn't even have himself or herself handled because there's so much more to it than just the paperwork of your trust or your will.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all good and well that you have that if you do, but you still need to look at it annually or every couple of years, make sure that the wishes that you have in there are still accurate, because whomever it is that you've appointed or that you've assigned or that's hopefully agreed to be your like successor trustee or your executor is still up for the job.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Right.
not, maybe their values have changed. Maybe
Yep.
you don't want them to be
Maybe
that
you're in
person.
a spat with them.
Yeah, anything can
Right.
happen at any time. Maybe they moved and they're on the other coast, and it's like, well, they're not going to be very, useful. Maybe they got married or divorced or something, and so their lives are a mess. They're probably not going to want to handle your stuff too, right? So you want to
Right.
always look at that. Then you've got your guardianship issues, which is what I was saying, your kids and your pets. You want to make sure that those are handled, those are in there. And your advance directive is really important. If you become unable to make your own medical decisions, you need to have somebody appointed to do that. Otherwise, it's a huge mess. There was cases that have gone on for, that Terry Schiavo case, if you ever heard of her,
Yes.
15 years, and it went all the way to Supreme Court. The families bickered and argued and all of that and kept her alive for all those years because they couldn't agree.
Right.
And what a waste of both the families' lives and
Right.
the cost and just the whole thing. It was unnecessary. But she was only 26 years old. Who knew that she was going to have a stroke or whatever happened to her? They found her, unresponsive one day, and then they kept her alive on machines all these years. So that's what could happen.
Right.
Then we go into insurance policies and reviewing your beneficiaries on everything. That's to my case in point about my friend whose husband never changed the beneficiary, and the ex-wife got a $400,000 payday. And do you think she
Wow.
shared $1 with my friend?
Unlikely, right?
No. You know what she told her? You'll appreciate this. Stop
Okay.
crying, you baby.
Oh, yeah. Who
Yeah.
says women aren't spiteful?
It's like you got yours. You took my husband. Now this is what you get. Nothing.
Oh my.
Then we go to credit and debt. So everybody's got credit cards. Most everybody's got debt. Who knows what they are? Sometimes you don't even know what they are. What are the terms?
Yeah.
What about your digital debt, right? Your revolving credit with PayPal, with HSN, or
Yeah.
you could have all that stuff, and nobody's ever going to see a statement for that.
Yeah.
It's all digital. How about your real estate and other account titles? How do you have them titled? Really important. It's a difference between going to probate and having just like a transfer on death designation, so that if you should pass away, somebody can just basically show that's the truth, and then it's a beneficiary that you've put on your investments and bank accounts.
Right.
And we go through and talk about your internet assets and your digital footprint and all that, all of those accounts, Facebook and LinkedIn and all those accounts you have. How sad is it when you see somebody, and you've probably seen this, happy birthday, Joe?
Yeah,
well, Joe died 3 years ago, and you're like, and people are going, Joe, haven't talked to you in a while. I hope you're doing good. And you're like, oh my gosh, this person never heard that he died.
I don't mean to laugh, but yeah, I've seen that.
Well, it's devastating for the people that because they're like, it just opens the wound over and over again if they expose themselves to those kinds of things. So you don't want to do that to family if you
Right.
can help it. And then we've got
Well, and also because this is a new one, right? In the last generation of these digital assets, there's photographs and
yes,
movies
that's
and
right. And people are
all.
very sad when they can't get to them.
Yeah, exactly. All kinds of other things that might not have a monetary value, but it will have a sentimental value, like the old photo albums, et cetera, that were passed down. This is kind of the same thing, and that's another one I got to put on my list. Thank you, Stacey, because
Well, I know
I
you're going
don't
to take
have
my
that one.
class, so
I'm,
you'll
I'm
definitely
thinking
have.
I'm going to have to schedule the time in here to
Oh
definitely
gosh, you
do
can't.
that.
Yeah, so then we'll get to that about the time thing. Don't let me forget.
Okay, okay.
Budgeting and planning is the next one. So you know what? You have bills to pay. If you somehow get yourself in a predicament where you cannot handle your own affairs, you can't pay your bills because, you know, you're on a ventilator or you've been in a car accident and you're hooked up to a machine, you're not available to pay your bills. What are they? How do they show up? Are they on auto pay? Do you pay with check? Do you do bill pay where you have to go and manually do it? Like somebody needs to know all this, because guess what could happen? Your health insurance could lapse. Now you don't even have health insurance and you're in the hospital. Your
Yeah,
life insurance could lapse. You could die with no life insurance, even though your intention was to always have had that so that you can, your family can carry on and not have,
right.
not have their lives upset to the point where they can't sustain their norm as far as live where they live and all that jazz. Then we're on to final wishes. What are
Mm-hmm.
they? You know, do you want to
Yeah.
be buried, cremated? How about writing your own obituary? We do that because, like,
Oh,
why put that burden on somebody else when you know your life and you know what you'd like shared about you in the afterlife? It's very simple. You know, it sounds kind of morbid, but we use templates, and it's like, well, that wasn't that hard. It's actually pretty cool. You know, you get to say the things that you get to reminisce through your life and pick the high points that you want to share
yeah,
with the world, kind of thing.
yeah.
And you know, there's other things involved in the final wishes, but in a nutshell, those are the 7 modules. And I want to just say I have 4 bonus modules that are still in the works that are coming. But I
Okay.
want to mention, if you have a business,
Mm-hmm.
succession planning is so very
Mm,
important. I know of
yeah.
several people now, because I've been, you know, hearing the stories where they didn't have anything in place. They either become unable to handle the business on their own and or died. Nobody's in the wings knows enough to actually pick up the pieces. And so therefore all that hard work is lost when it could have been a valuable asset for the family to sell.
Yeah.
And also all of the clients that you serve are then stuck,
Yeah.
right? And especially if you're in a service-based or you know, like a tax preparer or something like that, where
Right.
you've got people depending on you because they don't know anything about their taxes, only you do,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Right.
So it's important. If you're an employee, hey, if you've bought all kinds of benefits as an employee, how would somebody else know what they are to go claim them?
Right.
It is huge, and it
Yeah.
just goes unclaimed. No one's going to come chasing after you, the beneficiary, to claim it, right?
Right.
That's
Yeah.
a big one.
Yeah.
And then I have 2 more. Your pets. Pets are property. You
Mm,
can't leave money or things to your pets because they are property,
mm-hmm.
but you can assign somebody, or somebody, you can agree with somebody and have like a signed document that they are willing to take your pet.
Oh,
That would in the long run save that pet's life for the most part, most
right.
often.
Right.
And then guns.
Mm-hmm.
Gun
Another big
trust.
one. Gun
People don't
trusts. Yep.
realize the liability that they place on somebody else by saying, oh, I'll just let you inherit my gun collection. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you could make them a felon and you not even know it. I mean, your
Because
gun could get
they can't
stolen if
transfer them across state lines without
yeah.
certain
So
ways to do that. Yep.
exactly. And then
Yeah.
you can, I mean, I'm not a gun owner myself, so I'm just taking this hearsay, but
Mm-hmm.
I, from a gun dealer told me that you could have a gun in your home and have it not secured properly. And if it gets stolen and it could be used in a murder and you could be implicated or something, there's all these things.
Yeah.
Um, you just don't know. And when you're dead, somebody could take that gun and now your estate becomes liable. So there's so many things that you just don't know. And
Mm-hmm.
if you want to put your head in the sand and be an ostrich, you know what? You got your butt up in the air, so you're probably gonna get kicked in it. But
Yeah. No doubt.
that's not a good solution. And I know sometimes it feels overwhelming that there's all of these things. but talk to the people that have had to deal with those things. It takes
Yeah.
over their life. Like, what did they do to deserve that? Right? Like, really, now your mess is their mess. And
Right. And then again, this is a perfect time. And we talk on the show about creating your vision and direction and what you want to do and how you
mhm,
want to live your life with your children going forward. Having this stuff in order would be huge. The gun trust and gun, another one I got to put on my list. So I mean,
right.
yeah, I've really got to go through the course. So let's talk about the time frame of the course. So you talked about having some structure and guidance and accountability, and there's some people that you meet with. What is the time frame? How long can we expect to have to go through this as we're going through all the other crazy stuff that we're going
That's
through
right.
during divorce and learning how to parent
It's
alone and co-parent and everything else?
I feel for you, man. I don't know. I don't know how you do it. Cause you have to be the mom and the dad. And it's like, I don't know how you do it, but
Yeah, divorce is crazy.
yeah. So this is the thing when people tell me, number one, I don't have time. I think your course is excellent, but I don't have time.
Hmm.
But thank you for inviting me. I don't have time. Well, do you know what? When I got sick, I didn't have time either, but I got sidelined. When
Yeah.
somebody gets rear-ended or broadsided, do you think they have time? Do you think people have time to be laying up in the hospital? Do you think people have time to go to the morgue? I mean, I don't know what this thing, I don't have time. It's the stupidest thing I ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
You don't have time. All you have is time. And if you choose to use your time to benefit the people you love, then you've used your time well. So this is definitely something that is a responsibility of every person.
Yeah.
Yet I don't understand how our society doesn't look at it like that. They don't mind throwing their mess to somebody else to handle because they don't have time.
Yeah.
I know
Well,
you're watching movies and I know you're very busy going out to dinner. I know.
watching American Idol
Yeah,
or
I
The
know you're very
Voice.
busy. But you know what? This whole mess, if you are the lucky person that gets to handle somebody else's, you know
Mm,
what I'm talking about.
yeah.
If you have your parents and they left fighting with your siblings and you don't talk to them anymore, they're accusing you of stealing from your parent, or vice versa. You might be the idiot that's not doing the work, but accusing your other siblings of taking too long to settle things or
Yeah.
not doing it right, because
Yeah.
you've got your hand out waiting for your inheritance. It's an ugly, ugly mess. And if you can stop that infighting, you've done a huge service to your kids and to their kids and to all the generations after that, because people stop talking to one another and then they don't know their cousins and they don't know their uncles and they don't know their family. They just
Right.
cease to exist.
Right.
It's a bad, bad thing. So yeah, don't get me started on the time.
Yeah, apparently that's a
But how
that's a
long does it
sort of
take? Back
spot.
to your
But
question.
here's the good thing is during divorce we're going through this. So
Yeah,
it is
yeah,
the perfect
time.
time because you already pulling those policies out.
Yeah,
You're already
yeah.
disclosing everything that you can
All
possibly
right, Jude.
disclose.
I'm sorry for barking up that tree. So, how long does it take? Seriously, if you are somebody who's single, no real assets, don't own a house, your job is going to be a lot simpler than somebody who's
Right.
been married 3 times, has a business, has houses in 2 states, and has a complicated situation. So I can't answer that question. I
Yeah.
just know that if you go module by module, at the end of 7, you'll be done with my course. Not to say that it's touching on every single thing it could be touching on. I've looked at some programs where they talk about handing down recipes to generations and your
Mm.
classic collections and your life story. I'm not going there. I'm going with, if you get sick today, you die today, what does somebody need to know, bare bones, so that they can manage your estate, not have to, totally abandon their own life to do it,
Yeah.
and that things get handled and don't fall through the cracks. I mean, I have a case in point where, as an insurance agent, this woman called me. She goes, my father-in-law passed away. And I was looking through his papers and it looked like he has a life insurance policy, which is how she got my number. And I looked it up and I said, well, that policy lapsed. It lapsed
Oh.
like 5-6 months ago. She goes,
Oh.
that's when my father-in-law moved in with us. He had cancer. He was on chemo. He couldn't handle it on his own. He moved in with us. We didn't want to pry into his financial affairs, so we didn't ask any questions.
Bummer.
Well, they lost $100,000 because they let somebody who was sick and dying not pay his bills. I
Yep.
mean, what do you think's going to happen?
Right.
So if you had to take over somebody else's life, ask the questions because they most likely haven't taken my course. But
Right.
if you take the course, this isn't going to happen because you're going to have your life insurance on auto pay
That's
because
a
you don't want it to not get paid, right? Because it's a benefit that you are providing to your family.
great point. That's a great point, which is the education part of it. So you're not only educating yourself for your own stuff, but then you can help others do it.
Everybody else.
Your if you have elderly parents that are aging or coming close to the end of life, or children, right? Well, you have adult children that are starting out in life. You can help them not do what I did, which is not keep track of this stuff, because then you have the knowledge and the education from your course. And then I want to be clear, it's self-paced. So if you're going through your documents, you're going through this process, you can get in there and go, okay, oh yeah. I saw this in this module. I need to get in there and I need to do this. I'm going to do it simultaneously. I'll have it all done. It's just a beautiful
That's right.
time to do it, as much as we may not want to
That's
right
right.
now.
Yeah, and there's so many things you don't think about, like that these log sheets and these exercises prompt you on. I mean, before I did it, I never thought, what about the appointments that you have already on the books? Like I book my dentist a year in advance.
Mhm.
Well, somebody would need to call and say, hey, we got to cancel these appointments. Or how about this? All of the things that you're buying online to run your business or run your life that auto renew every year or every month or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
those things need to be canceled. There's just a lot of things that are left um, up to somebody to try to you have to be a detective, right?
Yeah, no
Oh, I
doubt.
wonder who my parents have do their lawn. We need to stop them, but we don't even know who it is. Like we got to
Right.
stand around on the day when we think they're going to come to catch them to see or leave them a note. Hey, lawn guy. I mean,
Right. Yeah. Now, yeah, you just got another one on my list to do also. All right. So this is phenomenal. It's very, very exciting. And I think it could benefit so many people that are listening. You've got something going on this week that's really exciting, really helpful. What is that?
yeah, so we're doing webinars on Tuesday the 23rd
Okay.
at 10 a.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. Pacific.
Okay.
And what it is, it's an offer to get in the course.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's an hour-long webinar, and we'd love to have you join in. It's free to come to the webinar. But we're going to talk to you about becoming a member of our family, really, and getting this work done. And so we have different options, and some of them include done with you. So you have some help. That's where the accountability comes in. Definitely have the structure all by itself because it's structured. The
Mm-hmm.
guidance, the guidance is there because each lesson has videos that guide you through. They teach you things and
Mm-hmm.
they instruct you what to do. But then what about the accountability? So the accountability is like, when is it you're going to sit down and actually do this stuff? So you
Yeah.
bring your information to the working sessions, and we do a 2 nights a week and an all-day intensive once a month to get the stuff done. And
Nice.
then we also have some other offers for people that really need more hand-holding for like personal appointments
That's
on
great.
top of all of that. So we have kind of the whole shebang. And then we also are offering for certain states, and I'm not sure where all your listeners are, but
Across the world.
yeah, across the world. So I won't even mention it, but there's 6 states where we have an estate planning package
Oh, okay.
bundle.
Okay.
So that if they're like, yeah, I need to do this, I have no idea who to go to. And we say, well, here's an option, and you can
Nice.
buy it in a bundle, and it's kind of all done for you.
That's great. So it runs the gamut. So if you're
Yeah.
super organized and you can just get in and do it self-paced, excellent.
Yeah.
If you're more like me, or you need a little bit of guidance and help and
Yeah.
suggestions, you can do that too. So gentlemen, check it out. It's you can go, you can find out, you can ask questions, find out which works for you on Tuesday. We'll put the link in the show notes. So you can just click, it'll take you right to the webinar registration page. And Stacey, thank you so much. It's one of those things you just don't think about. And I feel that it's so important, like that, it's just not something you think about. It's not, you don't get excited about,
it. You do think about it when it happens to somebody else.
Right. Or when it happens to you and you're like, holy cow, I
Yeah.
wish this would have, so they would have taken care of this, or
Yeah.
I wish somebody would have got educated. It's one of those things we just don't really get educated about, right? And
Yeah.
you have solved this entire problem. I've never heard of anything like this. So
Me neither.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sincerely appreciate that you've taken your time and your expertise to create something for people to, to help us through this, because it will be a godsend when you do this, and it will be one of the most loving things that you can do for your family members when the time comes for whatever happens, because we know things
It
happen in
will.
life, right?
It will. It'll happen. It happens to everybody at some point, right?
Right.
But I
Yep.
really appreciate you're realizing the importance and bringing it to
Yep.
your listeners. And I just had a thought too, because you do have a specific niche. You have divorced dads. It's a specific niche.
Yep.
They have a set of circumstances that probably run across the board. And we might be able to create like a work group with just your people.
Great.
And do some sort of program where that makes it a little more digestible. So
Awesome.
We'll talk about that.
Awesome. So lastly, what's the website, and how can people contact you other than clicking on the webinar in the show notes below?
Yeah. So my website is www.gotittogethernow.com.
I love it.
Be careful how you type it. It's a lot of letters.
Gotittogethernow.com.
Yeah. And you'll see everything there. I also have a podcast that comes out weekly, and you can click on the navigation bar and pop on over to the podcast page, and there's all the podcasts there. But this is, I'm glad you're excited about it, Jude, because I am so passionate about this. I want to scream from the rooftop, but not everybody feels that way. And I'm hoping that your dads can see that they're in a bit of a situation. If something happens to them, they don't have that other partner there to pick up the pieces. They're kind of on their own. And if you want to make sure your kids are not, the people, the people, they are people, but they can't take care of themselves. So they would be at the mercy of whatever happens, and that it could be bad for some of them.
Well, and some of us just don't want it to be at the mercy of the other person, ex,
yes,
or soon to be ex. So that's even more incentive. And it is really a good time to do this when you're thinking about it, and when it's all coming up, you have all those documents there. So great. I really appreciate you being here today, everybody. If you found value, please leave a comment, give us a like, give us some reviews, are very helpful on the podcast. Go and listen to Stacey's podcast as well, and register for her webinar. Stacey, thanks so much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jude. It's been great. A lot of fun. I didn't know I was going to have so much fun.
I know. It's always fun to talk about. It's not sexy, but it's really important. So it's, that, I don't know, maybe that tells you something about me. That gets me excited when I find something that's really going to make things better for people's lives that they don't know. Right. That's right. So that's the cool thing. So again, I really appreciate that it's a labor of love putting something together like this, and creating something that's never been done before. So I sincerely appreciate the work that you do.
Thank you. Appreciate
All right.
that.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.